Despite their strong feelings for each other, Jide never pressured Lola for intimacy. He believed in keeping their love pure and undefiled until after they were married. On Lola's birthday eve, Jide made her biggest wish come true by proposing to her. Overwhelmed with joy, Lola tearfully accepted his proposal. Once upon a time, on a beautiful island in Lagos, there lived a young girl named Lola. Lola was not just beautiful, but she was also hardworking and very classy. She owned a clothes boutique for women where she sold the most beautiful dresses you could ever imagine. Lola was kind, caring, and respectful to everyone she met. She had a heart of gold and was loved by many. Despite her success, Lola remained humble and down to earth. In addition to her thriving business, Lola was in a relationship with a man named Marcus. Marcus was well off and they both loved each other dearly. However, there was something troubling about their relationship. Whenever Marcus visited Lola at her boutique, they would spend time together, laughing and talking about their day. But sometimes Marcus' words would turn sharp and aggressive, leaving Lola feeling uneasy. He would interrupt her mid-conversation or speak to her in a disrespectful tone. Lola's friend, Kemi and Tinuke, had noticed Marcus's behavior and had urged her to end the relationship. They could see how unhappy Marcus made her, but Lola was hesitant. She was afraid of being alone and starting all over again. One day, Marcus and Lola had a disagreement. Marcus had asked Lola to stay over at his place, but she had a client coming to see her at the boutique. When she refused, Marcus became upset and accused her of prioritizing others over him. During the argument, Marcus called Lola hurtful names like daft and dumb, which deeply hurt her. Then, to her shock, Marcus slapped her while she tried to defend herself. Lola was stunned. She had never expected Marcus to be physically violent with her. Gathering her courage, Lola grabbed her bag and left Marcus' place, determined to end the relationship once and for all. That evening, she confided in her friends about what had happened, and they supported her decision to leave Marcus, saying that it was due already. The next day, Marcus showed up at Lola's boutique with flowers, begging for her forgiveness. But Lola stood her ground, refusing to take him back. Marcus left, insisting that Lola would eventually come crawling back to him. Weeks passed, and Lola found herself adjusting to life as a single woman again. She tried to focus on her work and cherish the company of her friends, Kemi and Tinuke, who never failed to lift her spirits. Despite the challenges she faced, Lola remained strong and determined to create a life filled with happiness and self-respect. But she didn't know that it was just her journey to finding true love and inner peace. Lola struggled to settle for less in her life. She felt lost and unsure of herself, wondering if she would ever find someone who truly appreciated her for who she was. Lola's friend, Kemi and Tinuke, tried to console her and encourage her to focus on herself, but Lola couldn't shake the feeling of loneliness and disappointment. She found herself reminiscing about the times she had spent with Marcus, even though they were often filled with arguments and misunderstanding. Feeling vulnerable and alone, Lola found herself tempted to lower her standards and settle for relationships that didn't truly fulfill her. She dated men who were not respectful or caring, hoping that they would fill the void left by Marcus. But with each failed relationship, Lola only felt more disillusioned and unhappy. But despite her struggles, she refused to give up hopes. She knew that she deserved better than the relationships she had settled for, and she was determined to find someone who would truly value and appreciate her. With the support of her friends and her own inner strength, Lola began to focus on building herself up and rediscovering her worth. As time passed, Lola realized that settling for less was never the option. She deserved to be with someone who cherished and respected her, someone who made her feel loved and valued every day. As Lola was busy attending to her customers, suddenly a tall, dark, and handsome man rushed into the boutique. He begged Lola to spare a few minutes, even though it was almost closing time. Lola hesitated at first, but the man pleaded so earnestly that she relented. The man, whose name was Jide, was looking for beautiful dresses for his sister's birthday party. Lola showed him the best dresses in the boutique, and he was delighted with her selection. After choosing a few dresses, he paid for them and thanked Lola for her patience. As he was leaving, Jide explained that his sister had specifically requested dresses from Lola's boutique for her birthday party. Lola blushed at the compliment, and Jide introduced himself before leaving his card with her. A few days later, Jide returned to the boutique while Lola was working. He mentioned that he had been expecting her call but decided to visit in person since he hadn't heard from her. Lola apologized, explaining that she had been busy and forgot to call. Jide then took her number and purchased 2 beautiful dresses, insisting that Lola keep them for herself. Over time, Lola and Jide grew closer. They spent long nights talking on the phone, and Lola found herself becoming fond of him. She confided in her friends Kemi and Tinuke about Jide, and they were thrilled for her. Jide eventually asked Lola out on a date, and she happily accepted. She even wore one of the dresses he had bought for her, feeling beautiful and special. Jide was impressed by how stunning she looked. As their relationship blossomed, Lola couldn't help but noticed how caring and attentive Jide was. He always spoke to her with kindness and showered her with gifts and affection. From monthly shopping trips to thoughtful gestures like providing for Lola's menstrual care needs, Jide went above and beyond to make Lola feel loved and cherished. Their weekends were filled with joy and adventure. Whether they were dining at a fancy restaurant, relaxing on the beach, or exploring the city together, Jide's generosity knew no bounds, and he constantly checked in on Lola's well-being, offering financial support and suggesting ways to enhance her boutique. "Babe, are you alright?" Jide would ask, his concern for Lola never wavering. He was always eager to pamper her with spa days and massages, making sure she felt relaxed and cared for. Every day with Jide felt like a fairy tale for Lola. His hugs had a way of melting away her worries, and she couldn't help but feel grateful for having him in her life. She often told her friends Kemi and Tinuke how excited she was to see what the future held for them. Not only was Jide incredibly loving and attentive, but he was also an amazing cook. Lola always praised him for his culinary skills, and she felt like a pampered princess whenever she was with him. To Lola, Jide was truly an answered prayer and more. Jide held a prestigious job at a tech firm, ensuring a steady and comfortable life for the both of them. His father was a wealthy and popular man, and his secure income allowed them to travel and make beautiful memories together as a couple. Jide was always full of surprises, leaving love notes around the house and constantly finding new ways to show Lola how much she meant to him. But it wasn't just Jide's material gestures that made Lola love him so deeply. His sense of humor kept them laughing through tough times, and his wisdom guided them through challenges. They celebrated each other's achievements and were each other's biggest cheerleaders. Jide had a way of making Lola feel so cherished and loved. He constantly whispered sweet things to her ear and reminding her of her worth. To Lola, Jide was the complete opposite of her ex, Marcus. Jide taught her the beauty of vulnerability, encouraging her to share her deepest fears and dreams. Whenever life got tough, Jide was always there to lend a shoulder to cry on and a hand to hold. Even Jide's parents were a source of joy for Lola. His mother was one of the biggest fans of their relationship, always offering words of wisdom and encouragement. Lola felt incredibly lucky to have such a wonderful mother-in-law, and she cherished the advice she received from her. As Lola and Jide's relationship blossomed, they shared a deep connection founded on love, trust, and respect. Despite their strong feelings for each other, Jide never pressured Lola for intimacy. He believed in keeping their love pure and undefiled until after they were married. On Lola's birthday eve, Jide made her biggest wish come true by proposing to her. Overwhelmed with joy, Lola tearfully accepted his proposal, knowing that she had found her perfect soulmate. Their wedding day arrived, filled with love and excitement. After the celebrations, Lola and Jide retired to their marital bed, exhausted from the day's events. They fell asleep quickly, wrapped in each other's arms. In the middle of the night, Lola was startled awake by piercing screams and moans, echoing through the silence. She searched frantically for Jide, but found the bed empty. Panic gripped her heart as she feared that they were under an attack. Racing through the house, Lola followed the sounds until she reached the guest room. What she saw shattered her world into pieces. Jide was engaged in an intimate act with another man. Shock and disbelief flooded Lola's mind as she struggled to comprehend what she was witnessing. Jide's whispered words cut through the chaos, leaving Lola speechless and broken-hearted. "I thought you loved me for who I am," Jide said. Lola's mind raced as she tried to process the betrayal before her. She felt like she didn't even know the man she had married. Unable to catch her breath, Lola stood frozen in the doorway, unsure of what to do next. Turning to her friends for support, Lola was met with silence. Their shocked expressions mirrored her own disbelief, leaving her feeling more alone than ever before. Unable to find solace in their words, Lola felt like a shadow of her former self, lost in the sea of confusion and heartache. After discovering Jide's secret, Lola found herself torn between staying in the marriage and walking away. She couldn't imagine life without Jide, but the betrayal she felt was too much to bear. She confronted Jide, demanding to know why he had kept his true self hidden from her. Jide confessed that he had been afraid of losing Lola if she found out about his attraction. He begged for her forgiveness, promising that he still loved her deeply. Even Jide's mother pleaded with Lola to stay, assuring her that her presence in Jide's life would make him reconsider his choices. Seeking advice, Lola turned to her friends, Kemi and Tinuke. While Tinuke urged her to leave the marriage, Kemi encouraged her to stay, reminding her of the vows they had made for better or for worse. Despite their differing opinions, both friends comforted Lola and advised her to take her time in making a decision. That night, Lola confronted Jide about his attraction and how long it had been going on. Jide admitted that he had known about his feelings for as long as he could remember, but had tried to suppress them by dating women. However, all his relationship ended once his partners discovered the truth. Feeling even more confused, Lola questioned whether Jide truly loved her. Jide assured her that he did, but Lola couldn't shake the feeling of uncertainty that lingered between them. As weeks turned into months, Lola and Jide's marriage remained strained. They had yet to be intimate, and Lola couldn't bring herself to initiate anything, knowing Jide's true identity. Jide's mother grew concerned about their lack of intimacy and invited them to her church for prayers, but Lola and Jide declined, insisting that their issues were not spiritual. Despite their struggles, Jide's mother continued to pray over them every night, entrusting them into the hands of the Lord in hopes of finding peace and resolution. As Lola wrestled with her feelings and the uncertainty of her future, she couldn't help but wonder if love was enough to overcome the challenges they faced. As Lola and Jide's marriage reached its 6-month milestone, they attempted to be intimate for the first time since they got married, but their efforts fell short as they couldn't proceed beyond foreplay. Despite their struggles, Lola couldn't shake the feeling of anger and disappointment that had consumed her as she lay awake that night. In the darkness, she noticed Jide staring at images of naked men on his phone, further deepening her frustration. The next day, Jide tried to make amends by surprising Lola with a brand new car. Despite her initial reluctance, Lola accepted the gift, feeling a mix of gratitude and resentment towards her husband. She kept the true nature of their relationship hidden from her friends, acting like they were finding a solution and avoiding any discussion about their lack of intimacy or plans for children. Instead, Lola poured her energy into her business, determined to succeed and distract herself from the turmoil in her personal life. She expanded her boutique, opening branches across the country and throwing herself into her work with renewed commitment. Despite her efforts to focus on her career, Lola couldn't escape the strain in her marriage. She often found men's clothes in her room, a silent reminder of Jide's infidelity that she chose to ignore rather than confront. Despite Jide's promises to change, his behavior only worsened over time, leaving Lola feeling trapped and alone in her struggles. Meanwhile, on social media, Jide and Lola's seemingly perfect love life continued to be admired by many. People envied their relationship, unaware of the challenges they had faced behind closed doors. As Jide's mother began pressuring them for grandchildren, Lola and Jide made empty promises just to appease her. Despite their assurances, they knew they had no intention of having children yet. Their marriage already strained by secrets and lies. One day, as Jide and Lola sat down together for breakfast, Jide broached a sensitive topic. He expressed his desire for them to have a child, despite their inability to consummate their marriage. Lola was taken aback by his suggestion, not expecting such a serious conversation over their morning meal. Jide proposed the idea of using a sperm donor to conceive a child, offering to take Lola abroad for the procedure. He reasoned that it would fulfill his mother's wish for a grandchild while maintaining their marriage. But Lola couldn't fathom the idea of bringing a child into their troubled relationship through such means. Feeling hurt and confused, Lola couldn't understand why Jide would suggest such a thing. She felt betrayed by his insensitivity to their marital struggles and his disregard for her feelings. Despite his pleas, Lola couldn't entertain the idea, feeling like her world was crumbling around her. The next day, Jide approached Lola with yet another proposition. He suggested that they switch to a marriage of convenience, where Lola would benefit financially and socially while staying married to him. Shocked and dismayed by his proposal, Lola couldn't believe what she was hearing. Feeling overwhelmed by the weight of Jide's suggestions, Lola excused herself from the conversation and left the room. She felt a sense of betrayal and disillusionment with their marriage, unsure of where to turn or what to do next. As days passed, tension grew between Jide and Lola as they struggled to navigate their strained relationship. Misunderstandings and disagreements became more frequent, further deepening the rift between them. As the days turned into weeks, Lola couldn't shake the feeling of sadness and confusion that consumed her. She wondered if their love was strong enough to withstand the challenges they faced, or if it was destined to crumble. As tension mounted between Jide and Lola, he pleaded with her not to leave him. He begged for another chance to make things right, promising to change and to do whatever it took to save their marriage. Though Lola was hesitant, she couldn't ignore the desperation in Jide's eyes or the love she still felt for him deep down. After much consideration, Lola decided to give their marriage a last try. She knew that it wouldn't be easy, but she was willing to put in the effort if it meant salvaging their relationship. With a heavy heart, she agreed to give Jide a last chance, hoping against hope that things would improve between them. Despite their renewed commitment to each other, intimacy remained a challenge for Jide and Lola. They visited marriage counselor and sex therapist. They struggled to connect on a romantic level. 1 year passed and they still hadn't touched each other. Their once love story was now replaced by a sense of distance and uncertainty. As time went on, Lola couldn't shake the feeling that her staying in the marriage wasn't right. She couldn't understand why Jide seemed unable to intimate with her, despite his promises to change. Their lack of romantic connection weighed heavily on her heart, leaving her feeling alone and frustrated in their relationship. She couldn't comprehend how she had missed such a crucial aspect of her husband's identity. Feeling lost and overwhelmed, Lola turned to her mother for support. Her mother listened patiently as Lola poured out her heart, offering words of encouragement. Her mother advised Lola to pray and fight for her marriage, reminding her that love had the power to conquer even the greatest challenges. With her mother's words echoing in her mind, Lola determined to stand by Jide and fight for their marriage. She knew that their journey would be difficult and filled with obstacles, but she refused to give up on the man she deeply loved. After 2 years long of trying to make their marriage work, Lola finally mustered up the courage to ask Jide what he truly wanted for himself. With a heavy heart, Jide confessed that he desired to be with other men. Though Lola respected his identity and understood his struggles, she knew she couldn't stay in a marriage where her own needs for intimacy and family were left unfulfilled. Tears welled up in Lola's eyes as she made the difficult decision to leave the marriage. Despite Jide's heartfelt apologies and lavish gifts, Lola knew that material possession couldn't mend the brokenness of their relationship. That night, Lola packed her belongings and left the house. Her heart heavy with sorrow, but her spirit determined to move on. With the support of her friends Kemi and Tinuke, Lola faced the daunting task of rebuilding her life and focused on her clothing business. As she set out on her own, Lola knew that the road ahead would be challenging. She didn't care what people would say, especially what people on social media would say, but she was determined to persevere. She poured her energy into her business, finding peace in the familiar routines of designing and selling beautiful dresses. Though the pain of her failed marriage lingered, Lola found strength in her work and the support of her friends. Meanwhile, Jide was left grappling with his own feelings of remorse and regret. He wept as he watched Lola leave, knowing that he couldn't change his identity or the pain he had caused her. Despite his best intentions, Jide couldn't shake the feeling of guilt for wanting to keep Lola by his side when he knew he couldn't give her the love and family that she desired. As Lola moved forward with her life, she found comfort in the knowledge that she had made the right decision for herself. Though her heart still ached for the love she had lost, but she knew she deserved happiness and fulfillment in her life. With courage and determination, Lola faced the future with hope. She knew that she would always cherish the memories of her love for Jide, but she also knew that she was strong enough to create her own happiness, one step at a time. The moral lesson of Lola and Jide's story is the importance of honesty, communication, and self-respect in relationships. It teaches us that it is crucial to be open and truthful with our partners about our needs, desires, and identities. Keeping secrets or hiding our true selves can lead to misunderstanding, hurt, and even the breakdown of relationships. So Lola's decision to leave the marriage, despite her love for Jide, demonstrates the importance of prioritizing her own happiness and well-being. It teaches us that it is okay to walk away from relationship that doesn't fulfill our needs or make us feel valued. Thanks for watching this captivating story on African Stories and Folktales. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories. Thank you.